The woman and her best friend were accidentally electrocuted and transported into the world of a novel. They also ended up marrying two wealthy brothers, but in the novel both of them were female side characters. Once the wealthy brother's first love returned from overseas, they would be kicked out of the family to make way for the heroine. In the end, her friend would be framed and left homeless. The woman would be tricked by her own family into transferring her husband's assets and would eventually die. Thinking about the miserable future waiting for them, the two decided to leave the family. At that moment, the woman thought to herself that the brothers were in great shape, and she had never seen their bodies before. To her surprise, her friend could hear her thoughts. Her friend immediately told her through her thoughts to leave as soon as possible. That was when they realized they could communicate through their thoughts. Just as they ran downstairs, they bumped into the wealthy brothers. After seeing how handsome their husbands were, the woman and her friend chatted through their thoughts and said the brothers were unbelievably handsome. Little did they know that everyone in the family could hear their thoughts. At that moment, their mother-in-law warned them not to run around. The woman and her friend praised their mother-in-law for being beautiful through their thoughts. Their mother-in-law was delighted to hear it. She told them to spend more time together that night to strengthen their relationship. The brothers asked where they wanted to go. The woman and her friend said they were already tired, and that they would be sleeping together that night. After they left, the two brothers admitted that they could both hear the women's thoughts. The younger brother felt that his wife had become much more interesting than before. The next morning, her friend woke up and discovered that a male model the original character had contacted was sending her messages. The woman immediately came up with a plan for her friend. Later, when her friend went downstairs to get something, she ran into her husband. After noticing his wife's bare shoulder, the husband unexpectedly felt shy. His wife quickly adjusted her clothes. The husband told her not to be so nervous. At that moment, he heard his wife thinking that she was going to meet the male model that night. So on the way to the office, he kept thinking about how shy his wife had looked. Suddenly, his assistant interrupted him and said they had arrived, but instead he told the assistant to drive to the hotel where his wife was meeting the male model. Meanwhile, the woman and her friend had already hidden inside the room. Their plan was to wait until the male model walked in, then pretend to be employees of the wealthy brothers, and warn him to stop bothering her friend. Sure enough, after the male model lay down on the bed, the woman and her friend came out in disguise and gave him a piece of their mind. At that moment, the two brothers also arrived outside the room. When they heard the woman and her friend say, "Let's do this together," the brothers angrily rushed into the room, but what they saw inside completely shocked them. They discovered that their wives were teaching the male model a lesson. After seeing their husbands arrive, the woman and her friend were convinced they would not be recognized. Little did they know that the brothers had already heard every one of their thoughts.